Hello everyone! Welcome to Jodoo. This is Roxanne. Today we will explore the feature of the Select Data field and learn how to configure it. This will make the form filling process smarter and more convenient. The Select Data field retrieves data from other forms and displays and fills them in the current form. For example, in Order Management form, here are many fields to fill in. Instead of entering records manually, you can use Select Data to fill in some of the fields just in one click. Alright, let's dive into how to implement this feature. First, we'll need to add the Select Data field and then configure it. Let's take a closer look at the feature of each section within this field and how to set it up. In Field Name, you can rename the field. If you tick the Show Name, the name will be displayed in this form. If not, this field will act like a button without a field name. The description provides customized prompts for you. In this text box, you can enter text, links, and images based on your requirements. It will be displayed above the Select Data field. The data source specifies the source of the data. In this section, you must choose a form to provide the data source. If you do not select a form as the data source, you will not be able to save this form. Click Select Data, and you can configure the page that will pop up when members click the button to select data while filling out the form. Here are 5 configurations for you to set. In Button Label, you can rename the button of Select Data. For example, in this case, the pop-up page provides details of purchase requirements, so you can rename the button as Purchase Requirement Details. This name will be displayed as the button in the form. In fields displayed when selecting, you can choose which kind of data will be displayed when members selecting data. In Filter Data, you can further narrow down the range of displayed fields. You can add one or more conditions based on your needs, and here are many relations for you to choose. For example, in this Purchase Management, you can set the data is between November 1st and November 13th, so that only products that were applied between November 1st and November 13th will be displayed when selecting data. The data sorting rule defines the order in which fields are displayed when selecting. You can choose either ascending or descending to arrange the data. This Actions gives you the option to add data that is not present in the data source. If you require this feature, simply tick it. An Add button will appear in the top right corner of the Selecting Data page. Members can directly add the necessary data. This data will not only be displayed on the Selecting Data page, but will also be synchronized with the form in the data source. So far, you have set up the data that will be displayed to members when they click the Select Data field. So, after selecting data, you need to configure how to fill or display these data into the current form. Here are 2 settings. Click the drop-down list of Display in the form. You can choose which field will be displayed in the field of Select Data. Click Fill into Form fields to establish the pairing relationship between the fields from the data source and in the current form. Tick a field in the data source, and you can choose either Fill into New Fields, which means that the field name and value will be filled into this form, or Fill into existing fields. For example, the purchase quantity from the data source form can be filled into the number field of the current form. This way, when selecting the record for file folders, its purchase quantity of 30 will be filled into the number field in the current form. The most critical parts of the Select Data field have now been configured, including what data is displayed when selecting data and the pairing relationships between the fields from the data source and in the current form. If you have further questions, you can click on How to Set the Rules here to be redirected to Jodoo's documentation page. This will provide you with more detailed information on configuring Select Data rules. Now, let's proceed. The next steps are relatively simple. In Validation, if you click Required, then members must fill in this field. Otherwise, the records cannot be submitted. If you click No Duplicates, then duplicate values are not allowed in this form. Otherwise, the records can't be submitted. In Field Permissions, you can determine the permissions for members to operate on that field, including viewing and editing. In Width, you can select the width for the field in the form as you like. So far, you have learned about configuring the Select Data field. Next, you can try configuring a Select Data field to link data between different forms, making the filling in process more efficient and convenient. If you like this video, you can subscribe to our channel. There are more how-to videos to help you get started with speed and ease.